Let me say something that might make you uncomfortable. In 2026, the market is not going to save you. Lower prices are not going to save you. Lower interest rates, they're not going to save you. And waiting for things to get better, well, that's definitely not going to save you. The people who are going to win in 2026 are the people that are intentional. It's the sales consultants out there that will go out and make things happen. So, who struggles? Well, those are the ones that continue to attack this business the same way they've always done it, by being lazy and letting things happen to them. All right, folks, welcome to the Zone of Enrichment, the room of constant ever improvement. This is Kaizen, and this is the Manufacture to Win podcast. Hey, look, 2026 is our year of intentionality. And I want to talk about this single skill that I believe is going to be the separator for top sales consultants out there and everybody else in 2026. Okay. This skill is of intentionality. It's not about motivation. It's not about hustle. It's simply about intentionality. And this, my friends, right here is one thing that I did not understand all that clearly, even myself, up until when I launched the company, but even more so over the last year and a half. And I want to share that with you as we move along through this podcast. So just block out these next 20 minutes. Stick with me, and you're going to see how you are going to be able to act, be, and have different results in 2026. Because look, intentionality is deciding. It's making a decision of the outcome before the day even starts, right? It's about building your day to force that outcome. It's about making things happen for you instead of them happening to you, right? Because most salespeople wake up and they're watching and waiting to see what happens throughout the day. Does that sound familiar? Whereas you look at top performing sales consultants, you look at owners of retail locations that maybe started out as sales consultants just like you, and you wonder, well, what's different? And those people make the day happen for them, right? So the major difference here, what we're talking about, is accidental sales people hope for sales, whereas intentional sales consultants, they engineer the sales. They engineer the results. So it's not about being perfect. It's simply about being deliberate. That's the key difference. Deliberate with how you start your day, okay? Deliberate about what you're going to work on first, how you're going to follow up, how you're going to improve your skills, how you measure your activity throughout the day, the week, and the month. And here's the hard truth. If you don't intentionally design your day, somebody's going to design it for you. What do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. If you're not intentional about designing your day, planning out your day, knowing what you're going to do, well, then your traffic's going to suffer, right? The phones are going to suffer. The emails are not going to be coming in the way you want them to. You won't have walk-ins coming in because of the intentional marketing that you're putting in that maybe don't contact you directly, but they end up showing up anyway without you knowing. And the distractions are going to get louder. You're going to allow yourself to get pulled away scrolling for hours, looking on Temu or TikTok or whatever you kids do nowadays, right? Because you don't have your day planned out. You're not being intentional. Right? And 2026 is going to expose the accidental sales consultants. Because here's what's changing, okay? And it's really important. Buyers, they're even more educated than they were last year or the year before. They're more cautious. They're more skeptical because of what they keep hearing on the outside. And they're more emotionally overwhelmed, folks. There's been a lot going on over the last few years. They've been held back so much because of pricing and rates and everything else. So that means you can't just wing it anymore. In 2026, your follow-up, it's got to be tighter. Your conversations, they've got to be deeper. Your questions have to, you got to dig deeper into it. Managing your pipeline, it's got to be a disciplined skill in order to be highly effective. And your skill development, getting better, improving, that not only has to be ongoing, but it has to itself be intentional. You have to plan out what I'm going to learn today, why I'm going to learn it, and how I'm going to continue to get better, right? And so sales consultants who struggle, okay, they won't be lazy, okay? The sales consultants that struggle won't be lazy. I'll tell you what they're going to be. They're going to be busy. In other words, doing busy work. They're going to be doing busy work, not effective work. They're going to be tired. Nobody gives a fuck if you're tired. Just telling you. Your family doesn't care if you're tired if you can't pay the bills, if you can't put food on the table, if you can't take them on that trip, if you can't buy the house, if you can't get the car. Oh, but that's a lot of pressure. Guess what? Get in line. We all got pressure. We've all got pressure, right? Those sales consultants that struggle, they're going to be frustrated, and they're going to be blaming the market when they should be looking in that mirror. They should be on your wall and blaming themselves, right? Because being busy is not the same as being productive. It's not the same as being productive. Intentionality turns your efforts, your actions into results. And results are all that matters. Plain and simple. Whether you're a sales consultant, community manager, sales manager, GM, I don't care. Results are all that matters. Okay? You know, if you were a professional athlete, nobody cares that you tried to win the Super Bowl if you don't win the Super Bowl. Nobody cares. All right? They don't put plaques on the wall with the Super Bowl tickets of the ones you didn't win. Nobody cares that you made it there and you didn't win it. Plain and simple. They only remember the winners. They only care about the winners. So how is it then that the top sales consultants use intentionality? How is it that right now in us building MH Sales Mastery, we use intentionality? Okay, well, first and foremost, let me tell you that these top sales consultants actually do use intentionality. There's no magic behind it, okay? They decide the outcome that they're after in advance. Plain and simple. When I decided to launch this company, here was my long-term goal. My short-term goal was, hey, let's get a customer. Let's get one, right? Let's get one. And what's it going to take to get that one? And so, but from there, you start evolving, you start growing, but you decide your outcomes in advance. They don't say, let's see what happens today. We have today planned out. They say, today I'm going to accomplish this. In your case, as a sales consultant, today I am going to set 2 appointments. Today I'm going to push 3 of my deals forward in my pipeline so I could get it closed. Today I am going to protect and increase my income by X because this is the deal I'm going to get closed. Right? And so when you have those outcomes, those results that you're after, now you know what it is that you need to work on. So as it has to do with your existing pipeline, they are every single day working what we call the bottom of the funnel. In other words, what's going to pay me right now? Every single day, they come in ready to go, knowing what's going to fund so that I can get paid? What can I close? Right? Because that's the deal I need to focus on right now. And who needs a little bit of extra work, massage on the file so that I can get it to close? They already come in and they know these are the ones I'm attacking. Hopefully you have a daily deal review. And if you don't, you at least come in and you know what you've got to work on so that your deals keep moving forward. Nothing is more frustrating than to go into a business that has all this business working, all these files working, but no one knows what to expect as far as when a deal is going to close. That's crazy to me, because that's how the business survives. That's how the business pays its bills. That's how you get paid, right? So intentional sales consultants, they don't choose it. They don't chase activity. They chase progress. It's a big difference. You don't chase activity. Don't stay busy. There's no prizes for being busy. The only prize comes from progress, because progress leads to that result we were talking about earlier, right? The top performing sales consultants, they protect their high leverage activities. They protect those things to no end that move the needle forward. And in your case, as a sales consultant, it's your marketing. Are you doing your marketing daily? Are you intentional with your marketing? Do you know who your target audience is? Have you even designed your ideal customer avatar? If you haven't and you're watching this, I want you to comment in the comments below. I want you to comment customer avatar, and what we're going to do for you is we're going to send you a free copy of the custom GPT that we created that will help you design or figure out who your ideal customer avatar is that you can market to. It's revolutionary what we created, man. I'm super stoked about this thing. But anyways, I digress, right? You protect your marketing. You're intentional with it. You protect your follow-up. You know who is on the fence. Who can I get over the fence right now? This is the buyer I'm calling right now, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get them to move forward, take that next step, and actually get their application submitted so we can get this deal done. They are intentional with moving their deals forward, right? So your high leverage activities, your marketing, your follow-up, and then pushing your pipeline, getting it to close. And then lastly, skill improvement, professional development. And this is, excuse my computer, this is not about if I have time to do it, okay? It's about making the time to do it. And so these top producing sales consultants, they track what matters. They track the calls. They track the contacts. In other words, how many people they actually spoke to. They track the appointments that they set, because they know that that's where the money comes from. They track the appointments that actually show up, and obviously the sales that come from it, so that you know you can now predict what is going to happen as long as you hit these numbers, because what gets measured gets improved. If you've never heard that saying, what gets measured gets improved. Some people don't. It's like when we broke, right? Who can relate to this? When we're broke, we don't want to look at the bank account because we know there's no money in there, right? But it's the same thing. You don't want to look at your numbers. I don't want to look. I'm not going to track my calls and all this, because you're not putting in the effort. Because if you were, you'd know, man, I'm going to track all this stuff because it's going to show me exactly what I am doing and what needs to get improved, because what gets measured gets improved. And lastly, top producing sales consultants, they improve with purpose. We have never arrived. We never feel that we've got it all down pat, right? Professional athletes continue to watch game film, continue to go into the weight room. They continue to work on the skills that are going to get them to the outcome, which is the Super Bowl win, right? So in other words, when you improve with purpose, they're not just gaining experience. They're not just reading something to get experience. They deliberately work on a certain objection. I tell you guys all the time, for those of you that are a part of our training clients, I tell you guys all the time, write down the objections that you struggle with and come up with a plan to be able to address those better with buyers. They come up with a script that they use on the phones. They come up with a script that they use in person. They come up with the script that they use to deal with buyers that are inquiring with them online through chat or however it may be. And we have all of those in place for you as well. You just have to learn them, execute them, ingrain them, and then just be deliberate with them. And they improve their conversational skills. They know where they're lacking. And when do they do this? Every single day. They improve with purpose every single day. I have a saying that I like to live by, which says, if you act with purpose, you'll live in prosperity. In other words, if you're purposeful with everything that you do, you're going to hit the results that you're after. And if you hit the results you're after, you set those results. So those results you set should be what's going to help you not just pay your bills, but help you get that house, get your car, take that trip, whatever it is you're trying to get accomplished. Help your church, help your family members, whatever it is, right? But why is it then that some sales consultants struggle? Well, not everybody does this. Let's be honest, right? Most sales consultants, they don't avoid intentionality because they don't know how. They avoid it because intentionality creates responsibility. They don't want to be accountable to it. Because when you're intentional, you can't blame the market. You can't blame the traffic. You can't blame management. You can't blame the weather. When you're intentional, you hold yourself accountable. And that blame, the results, the truth lies solely and squarely on your shoulders, right? The truth requires standards. Do you have high standards for yourself and your business, the way you operate? Because without standards, you will never, ever be intentional. So what are your standards like? What standards do you have in place for yourself, for your work? Are you going to bed at all types of hours in the morning, in the middle of the night, and expecting to be effective first thing in the morning when everybody else is ready to go? What are your standards? Okay. There's a quote, there's a scripture in the Bible that says something to the effect of, show me who you're with and I will show you who you are. Right? In other words, the people you hang out with, most likely that's the kind of person you are. It's the same thing in business, same thing with what you do. Show me your standards, and I'll show you the type of results you're getting. Right? And that's why most sales consultants don't like intentionality, because it creates accountability and standards. So intentionality forces you to confront, right? Be open to where you're actually leaking money, sales, effectiveness. It shows you your weaknesses. So people stay busy instead, right? How many times are you that sales consultant that's working on files all day long, right? But never really truly accomplishing anything. So with that all being said, I'm going to go over the top 5 things that you can do right now to be more intentional in 2026. And if you do nothing else, do these 5 things. Okay? First and foremost, plan tomorrow tonight. Plan tomorrow tonight. Before you leave for the day, or before you lay your pretty little head to rest on that pillow, okay? Write tomorrow's top 5 tasks that need to get done so that you can move your deals forward. Identify who you can close or move forward, right? Decide how you're going to generate the 2 appointments tomorrow. Decide what you're marketing. Don't wake up guessing. Have the plan written out so that when you wake up, boom, you brush your pretty little teeth, you drink your coffee or whatever it is you drink, and you get to kicking some ass. And the second thing that you need to do is start every day at the bottom of the funnel. Start every day there before you get into scrolling in social media, before you get into your emails, before you start walking around the office and having your water cooler talk. Okay? Protect your income first. What deal can I get paid on right now? Start right there. Well, Caesar, I don't have any deals right now that I can get paid on. Well, then, what do we need to get there? Well, I don't even have any deals in my pipeline. Well, then obviously you need to start with marketing and your prospecting. Don't lose sight of what you're there to accomplish. As we said before, results are the only thing that matters. So if you don't have a pipeline, you need to get yourself out there and build one. So you have to be intentional about your marketing and about your phone calls. Well, I've been calling people, then your calls suck. So you need to get those better. Well, I'm not getting any leads. Well, then your marketing sucks. Get it better. Well, these people that are on that I have deals working with, they're just not calling me back. Obviously, you didn't build a connection with them and establish yourself as a true consultant. So your sales process sucks. There's always something to improve. Always, right? So the first thing you got to do is plan tomorrow, today, and then you want to start with the bottom of the funnel. Thing number 3 that you want to do is you want to track a simple daily scorecard. Man, everything is gamified now, right? Any app you download, any sort of thing, they're always trying to make it where they're scoring everything, right? Why? Because of the dopamine hits, and it'll keep you engaged and you keep doing the thing. So create something like that for yourself with regards to what you do. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. If you don't know how many calls you need to make every single day to speak to X amount of people, because those X amount of people are going to lead to a certain amount of appointments, and when these amount of appointments show up, I get these many applications, and out of these many applications per month, I fund X amount every single month. If you don't know what that is, shame on you, but maybe you haven't been told that or shown how to operate that way, but that's what makes the difference. So create that scorecard. Know what your numbers are. And tip number 4 that you want to use, point number 4 is use an if-then rule. And this has to do, recently my wife introduced me to this book. I've been talking to everybody about it the last couple of days, which is The Power of Habit. Okay? Great book. I'm just into the first chapter of it, but just even what I've learned from that, my gosh, it's like changed the way I think about things. Because now I understand why I do the crazy shit that I do. Okay? And so, excuse me, if-then rules. In the book, it describes how there's cues. We as humans, we respond to certain cues. And we just do things out of habit based on certain cues, right? I wake up in the morning. What happens when you wake up in the morning? Okay? Because that's a habit. Well, I lay in bed for 20 minutes scratching my head. It's a habit. The good thing about it is you can change that habit. So, for example, right? An if-then rule. If I feel resistance to calling, like I don't want to pick up the phone, man, I'm just not in the mood right now. If I feel that resistance, then I'm going to make 5 calls before I do anything else. If I get in that little funk where I just don't want to pick up the phone, I'm intentionally going to make 5 calls before I do anything else so that I break that habit. I break that feeling. So from here on out, I don't feel like not making the calls. If a lead asks for the price first, then I'm going to ask a deeper question, right? Before answering that. Right now, I'm dealing with a group right now where all they're doing is giving pricing, and they're not getting any business. So if somebody asks for the price, then I'm going to ask a deeper question. Not that I'm trying to avoid the price situation, but it's simply understanding that people don't buy on price, they buy on payment, right? That's a whole nother lesson. But you need to create these if-then rules based on what you know you struggle. I don't like to do my marketing. And usually you don't like to do your marketing because something happens that triggers you not to want to do it. So you've got to realize what that is and create that if-then rule, right? And then tip number 5, schedule a daily 20-minute improvement block. Okay, I'm not talking about learning. I'm not talking about where you just read a book. If you're going to read a book, read it to learn from it, to improve, not just learn, improve. What are you going to change? I was talking about earlier goals, right? And if you're going to reach a certain goal, something's going to have to change. So it's not about learning, it's about improving. Whether it's improving an objection, improving a script, improving a conversational skill, that's how professionals are built, intentionally. So you too, my friends, could be so much more effective. You could reach all your goals and more. Up until this point, most of us don't reach our goals because we didn't even know how to do it. We don't understand intentionality. We don't understand that we have more power and more control than what we think we do. Oh, all of these things, that stuff only happens to them because they're lucky. No, BS. They make it happen. They make it happen. And you can make it happen too. You can make your day happen for you, not to you. And it's pretty simple. Well, Caesar, how do we do it? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. You know that we're here to help you guys. I tell you all the time, right? Here to help take your life, your business, and your career to a whole new level. So with 2026 being our year of intentionality, all right, I'm going to get some fortune cookies made with that. Here's what we've got for you. We're going to put together a free webinar on this very subject, on how you can apply this in your daily business, your daily routine, okay? I'm seeing a massive, massive gap right now forming in our industry. On one side, you got the intentional professionals, you got the consistent pipelines, you got the predictable incomes. But on the other side, and this side is growing bigger because buyers are getting more cautious. Not that they're buying less, the numbers are up. Nationally, the numbers right now are up almost 2% over last year. Right? But on the other side, what I'm seeing is stress. I'm seeing inconsistency. I'm seeing constant starting over, pipeline falling apart. You're starting over. The gap is going to get even bigger in 2026. So on January 21st, Wednesday, January 21st, we normally do our Path to Mastery Collective Mastermind call, the third Wednesday of the month. This January 21st is the third Wednesday. We're going to put on this free special webinar, okay? The Intentionality Advantage. That's what I'm calling it. And you are going to be able to join us for free on this webinar where I'm going to break this down step by step for you so that you can go out and kick some major ass in manufactured home sales wherever you are in the country, okay? And in this free training, we're going to show you how you can design your day so that you stop being accidental and rather being intentional, right? We're going to teach you the intentional operating system used by top producers. We're going to show you how to consistently get those appointments that lead to the applications, that lead to the sales. We're going to show you how to protect your income even in uncertain markets. I kept hearing in 2025, especially from the folks in Florida, oh, we're in a depressed market. The only thing depressed right now is those damn TV shows you're watching. Okay? And we're going to talk to you about how to stop being busy and start being profitable. It's not theory. It's not hype. This is a working system. This is what we've used to build MH Sales Mastery to where it's at now. It's what I've used to take other clients of ours to improving their sales by almost 100%, taking them from 50 plus homes a year to almost 100 in fundings, right? So if you want 2026 to be different, if you're looking to stop being tired but rather be consistent. If you want control over your results, you need to register right now for this webinar. The link's going to be in the description of this podcast. Join us for our Intentionality Advantage webinar. It's a free webinar, January 21st, I should say, so that you can be there with us, all right? So remember this, your results in 2026 are already being decided right now by how intentional you are today. Go click that link, sign up, and join us. And I'll see you on the webinar. My friends, you know what this is all about. Here at the Manufacturing to Win podcast at MH Sales Mastery, we are here to help take your life, your business, and your career to a whole new level, but it takes you putting in your part.